Jake thought he had the perfect roommate situation. His apartment mate, Luna, was quiet, clean, and always paid her share of the rent on time. She never hogged the bathroom, never left dirty dishes in the sink, and somehow always knew exactly when to give him space during his stressful exam weeks. The only weird thing about Luna was, well, everything else. She never seemed to sleep at normal hours. Jake would stumble to the kitchen for his midnight snack and find her sitting by the window, staring at the stars like she was reading a book. When he asked what she was doing, she would just smile and say she was checking the weather. Luna also had this strange habit of buying groceries that Jake had never seen before. Purple fruits that glowed slightly under the kitchen lights, silvery powder that she mixed into drinks that smelled like flowers and rain. When Jake jokingly asked if she was trying to poison him, Luna looked genuinely worried for a split second before realizing he was kidding. "I have special dietary needs," she would say whenever he offered to share his pizza or Chinese takeout. "My family has very specific eating habits." Jake figured she was probably from another country. Her accent was hard to place, and sometimes she would pause before using common English words like she was translating in her head. She was incredibly smart, though. Whenever Jake struggled with his engineering homework, Luna would glance at his textbook and somehow know exactly how to solve problems that took him hours to figure out. "How do you know advanced calculus?" he asked her one evening after she helped him with a particularly tough assignment. "I studied it in my previous school," Luna replied, but she wouldn't say where that school was. The strangest thing about Luna was her skin. In normal indoor lighting, she looked like any other college student. But sometimes, when sunlight hit her just right, or when she stood near the bright lamp in their living room, Jake could swear he saw faint patterns moving across her arms and face, like someone was projecting a slowly shifting design onto her skin. "Are you feeling okay?" he asked her once when the patterns seemed particularly noticeable. "You look kind of sparkly?" Luna quickly moved away from the light. "Just tired," she said. "The lighting in here is strange sometimes." Jake learned not to ask too many personal questions. Luna was a great roommate, and he desperately needed someone to help with the rent. His part-time job at the campus bookstore barely covered his own expenses, and finding affordable housing near the university was nearly impossible. Their daily routine was comfortable and predictable. Jake would wake up early for his morning classes, and Luna would already be gone for her mysterious job that she never talked about. She would return in the evenings with those strange groceries and packages that were always delivered at weird hours. Jake once saw a delivery person at their door at 3 in the morning, but when he asked Luna about it, she just said it was medical supplies for a health condition. The packages were another mystery. They came in unmarked boxes, and Luna always took them straight to her room. Jake respected her privacy, but he couldn't help being curious about what someone could possibly need delivered in the middle of the night. "Are you running some kind of online business?" he asked one day, trying to sound casual. "Something like that," Luna said, which was her usual response to questions about her personal life. Despite all the mysteries, Jake genuinely enjoyed living with Luna. She was thoughtful in small ways that most roommates weren't. When he had a big exam, she would somehow know to keep the apartment extra quiet. When he was stressed about money, she would occasionally leave small treats in the fridge with notes saying they were extras from her work. She also had this calming presence that Jake couldn't explain. After particularly difficult days, just sitting in the same room with Luna while they both did their own work made him feel more relaxed. It was like she absorbed stress from the environment around her. Winter arrived early that year, and with it came weather reports that made everyone nervous. The meteorologists kept talking about an unusual storm system moving in from the north. They used words like unprecedented and potentially dangerous when describing the expected ice accumulation. Jake stocked up on instant ramen and batteries, the usual college student storm preparation. Luna seemed more worried than the situation called for, constantly checking weather updates on her phone and pacing around their small living room. "It's just a storm," Jake told her as she watched the weather forecast for the 5th time that evening. "We've got food and flashlights. We'll be fine." Luna looked at him with an expression he couldn't read. "Some storms are more complicated than others," she said quietly. The storm hit on a Thursday night, just as Jake was settling down to work on a term paper. The first sign of trouble was the sound, not just wind and rain, but a deep rumbling. That seemed to come from everywhere at once. Then the lights flickered and went out completely. Jake fumbled for his flashlight and found Luna standing by the living room window, silhouetted against the strange greenish glow of the ice-covered streetlights outside. "This is bad," she said, and there was something in her voice that made Jake's stomach clench with worry. The temperature in the apartment began dropping rapidly. Their heating system was electric, and with the power out, their only source of warmth was a small battery-powered space heater that Jake had bought as a backup. By midnight, they could see their breath inside the apartment. Jake tried calling campus security to ask about warming centers, but his phone had no signal. The radio reported that emergency services were overwhelmed and couldn't respond to non-life-threatening calls. Roads throughout the city were impassable due to ice, and power restoration could take several days. "We need to stay warm," Jake said, stating the obvious as he pulled on every sweater he owned. Luna nodded, but she seemed distracted, almost like she was listening to something Jake couldn't hear. In the dim light of their emergency flashlight, he noticed that her skin looked different again. The faint patterns he had sometimes seen before were more visible now, and they seemed to be moving more quickly. "Luna, are you okay?" Jake asked. "You look different," she finished for him. Her voice sounded strained, like she was fighting off pain. "Yeah. Are you getting sick?" Luna was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the storm. When she finally spoke, her words changed everything Jake thought he knew about his quiet, mysterious roommate. "I need to tell you something," she said, "and I need you to promise you won't panic." Jake looked at her standing there in the flickering candlelight, her skin showing those impossible shifting patterns, her eyes reflecting light in a way that human eyes definitely shouldn't. "Luna," he said slowly, "what exactly are you?" Jake stared at Luna, waiting for an answer that would probably change everything. The candlelight flickered across her face, and those strange patterns on her skin were getting brighter by the minute. "Promise me you won't run away," Luna said, her voice shaking. "Promise me you'll listen to the whole story before you decide I'm crazy." "Luna, you're scaring me a little bit," Jake admitted. "But we're stuck in this apartment together until the storm passes. I'm not going anywhere." Luna took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were glowing with a soft blue light that definitely wasn't normal. "I'm not from Earth," she said simply. Jake blinked. Then he laughed, because what else could he do? "Okay, very funny. Come on, what's really going on with your skin thing?" Luna didn't laugh back. Instead, she held out her hand, palm up. The patterns on her skin began moving faster, swirling in colors that Jake couldn't even name. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "I'm from a planet called Zirion," she continued. "My people are called the Zerathi. We've been living among humans for about 50 years now, learning about your culture, your technology, your way of life." Jake felt his mouth go dry. "You're serious. Completely serious." Luna sat down on the couch, still holding her glowing hand out. "There are about 300 of us living on Earth right now. We're part of an exchange program between our worlds. Most humans don't know we exist." "This is impossible," Jake said. But even as he said it, he was remembering all the weird things about Luna that suddenly made sense. The strange food, the nighttime deliveries, the way she seemed to know things she shouldn't know. "I know how it sounds," Luna said. I've been dreading this conversation for 6 months. 6 months? Jake sat down across from her, his mind racing. You've been lying to me for 6 months? I've been protecting both of us for 6 months, Luna corrected. Do you think it's easy living on an alien planet, pretending to be something you're not every single day? Jake looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. Under the glow of her skin patterns, he could see how tired she looked. How lonely. Why are you telling me now? He asked. Luna's expression changed and she looked almost embarrassed. Because something is happening to me that I can't hide anymore. Something that only happens to my people once every 7 Earth years. What kind of something? My people. We have biological cycles that are very different from humans, Luna explained carefully. Right now, I'm entering what you might call a bonding season. It's when Zarathi form deep connections with others. It's emotional and mental, not just physical. Jake felt heat rise in his cheeks. Oh, it's not what you're thinking, Luna said, quickly. It's not about that. It's about finding someone who truly understands you, someone you can share thoughts and feelings with on a level that goes beyond normal friendship. And this is happening to you now? It started yesterday, Luna admitted. That's why I've been acting strange. That's why my skin patterns are so visible. My body is preparing for the possibility of forming a bond and being trapped in close quarters with someone I actually care about is making everything more intense. Jake felt something flutter in his stomach at the words, someone I actually care about, but he pushed the feeling aside. Is this dangerous? Not dangerous, exactly, but overwhelming. Zarathi, who go through bonding season alone, can become very sick. And if I accidentally form a connection with you? Luna trailed off. What would happen? You would be able to feel some of my emotions, and I would feel yours. It creates a link between two people that lasts for life. Jake was quiet for a long moment, processing everything. Outside, the storm continued to rage, and their apartment grew colder by the hour. He looked at Luna, really seeing her for the first time. She wasn't just his mysterious roommate anymore. She was a person from another world who had been living a completely fake life just to survive on Earth. How long have you known you were different? He asked. Always. On Zerion, I was training to be a cultural ambassador. That's why I volunteered for the Earth program. I wanted to build bridges between our worlds. And instead, you got stuck? Living with a college student who eats cereal for dinner. Luna smiled for the first time since the conversation started. You're not so bad. You never asked too many questions. You always gave me space when I needed it. And you helped me understand human customs without making fun of me. Like what? Like how humans say bless you when someone sneezes. Or how you're supposed to make small talk with cashiers at stores. Or why people get so excited about sports teams from cities they've never even visited. Jake couldn't help but smile, too. Those are pretty weird human things, I guess. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the patterns dance across Luna's skin. The apartment was getting colder, and Jake could see frost forming on the inside of their windows. So, what happens now? Jake asked. Do you have some kind of alien emergency contact I should call? The communication systems are down because of the storm, Luna said. My people won't be able to check on me until the weather clears, and by then what? Luna looked directly at him, and her glowing eyes seemed to see right through him. By then, if we've formed a bond, it will be too late to break it. We'll be connected forever. Jake felt his heart beating faster. And you don't want that? It's not about what I want, Luna said quietly. It's about what's fair to you. You didn't sign up to be mentally linked to an alien. You have your own life, your own dreams. You deserve to choose your own future. What if I want to choose this? The words came out before Jake could stop them. Luna's eyes widened. Jake, I'm just saying, maybe this isn't as terrible as you Think it is. I mean, you're the best roommate I've ever had. You're smart. You're kind. You help me with my homework, and you never judge me for eating ice cream straight from the container. But you don't understand what you'd be giving up. Maybe I understand more than you think, Jake said. Luna, I've felt more comfortable around you than anyone I've ever known, even before I knew what you really were. Maybe that means something. Luna stared at him, and Jake could see the patterns on her skin shifting into new configurations, like they were responding to her emotions. "This is really happening," she whispered. "Yeah," Jake said. "I guess it is." Outside, the storm continued to rage, trapping them together in their cold apartment. But inside, something new was beginning between two people from different worlds, who were about to discover just how much they had in common. The temperature in their apartment kept dropping. Jake could see his breath forming small clouds every time he spoke, and Luna's alien glow was starting to feel like the only warm thing in the room. "We need to do something about this cold," Jake said, rubbing his hands together. "Our backup heater died an hour ago." Luna nodded, but she seemed distracted. The patterns on her skin were moving faster now, swirling in colors that shifted from blue to purple to something that looked like liquid silver. "Are you okay?" Jake asked. "You look like you're in pain." "Not pain exactly," Luna said carefully. "It's more like pressure, like something inside me is trying to get out." Jake went to their linen closet and pulled out every blanket and comforter they owned. "Come on, we need to share body heat or we're going to freeze." Luna hesitated. "Jake, I don't think that's a good idea. Being close to you right now makes everything stronger." "Makes what stronger?" "The bonding process. The closer we are physically, the more my body thinks we're compatible partners." Jake stopped arranging the blankets. "And that's bad because once it starts, I won't be able to control it completely. You'll start feeling things that aren't your own emotions." "What kind of things?" Luna sat down on the couch and wrapped her arms around herself. "Memories, feelings, thoughts that belong to me. It's like having someone else's dreams mixed in with your own." Jake looked at her sitting there, shivering and trying to protect him from something he didn't fully understand. The logical part of his brain was screaming that this was crazy, that he should be terrified of his alien roommate who was going through some kind of biological process he couldn't comprehend. But the bigger part of him, the part that had been growing stronger every day for the past 6 months, just wanted to help her. "Luna," he said gently, "we're going to freeze to death if we don't stay warm. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together." Luna looked up at him, and her glowing eyes were full of uncertainty. "You don't know what you're saying." "Maybe not, but I know I trust you." Jake sat down next to her on the couch and pulled a thick comforter over both of them. The moment their shoulders touched, Luna gasped. "What?" Jake asked, worried. "I can feel your emotions," Luna whispered. "You're scared, but you're also curious, and something else I don't recognize." Jake realized he could feel something too. It was like having a gentle current of electricity running under his skin, carrying feelings that definitely weren't his own. Luna's fear, yes, but also a deep loneliness that made his chest ache. "How long have you been lonely?" he asked, without meaning to. Luna's eyes widened. "You felt that?" "Yeah. It's like being homesick, but worse." "I've been lonely since I arrived on Earth," Luna admitted. "My people, we're naturally connected to each other. Being cut off from that connection, pretending to be human, never being able to be myself. It's been the hardest thing I've ever done." Through their strange new link, Jake could feel the weight of Luna's isolation. 2.5 years of pretending, of hiding, of never being able to relax and just be herself. "Why didn't you ever say anything?" he asked. "What was I supposed to say? Hey, roommate, I'm an alien and I'm desperately lonely. Want to be best friends?" Jake laughed, and he felt Luna's surprise through their connection. "Actually, that probably would have worked. I'm pretty lonely too. You are? Luna? I'm a broke college student whose idea of a social life is studying in the library. You're literally the only person I spend time with outside of classes. Through their link, Luna felt the truth of that statement. Jake's own loneliness, different from hers, but just as real. The pressure of trying to succeed in school while working part-time and never having enough money. The way he sometimes felt, lost and disconnected from everyone around him. "We're quite a pair," Luna said softly. "Yeah, we are." They sat together under the blanket, sharing warmth and something much deeper. Jake discovered that Luna's memories were like watching movies in his head. He saw flashes of her home planet, a place with purple skies and floating cities that looked like they were made of crystal and light. "It's beautiful," he said, and Luna smiled. "I miss it sometimes, but Earth has things Xerion doesn't have." "Like what?" "Like pizza, and dogs, and humans who eat cereal for dinner and help their alien roommates with their homework." Jake felt a warm glow in his chest, and he wasn't sure if it was his own happiness or Luna's. As the night wore on, their connection deepened. Jake learned that Luna had volunteered for the Earth program partly because she was different from other Zerathi. She was more curious about other species, more willing to take risks, more interested in building bridges than following rules. Luna discovered that Jake was much braver than he thought he was, that his kindness wasn't just politeness but genuine care for others, that his dreams of becoming an engineer came from wanting to build things that would help people. "I can see why. Your people chose you as an ambassador," Jake said as he watched Luna's memories of her training on Xerion. "I can see why you're going to be a great engineer," Luna replied, feeling his excitement about his future projects. The sharing wasn't just one way. Jake found himself opening up about things he'd never told anyone. His worries about money, his fear that he wasn't smart enough to succeed, his secret dream of designing bridges that would connect communities. "You are smart enough," Luna said firmly. "I can feel how your mind works. You see problems differently than other people. That's a gift." "Really? Really? And your bridges idea? It's perfect. You want to connect things that are separate. That's exactly what you've been doing with me." Jake realized she was right. Without knowing it, he'd been building a bridge between their two worlds, one small kindness at a time. By morning, they were so closely connected that Jake could barely tell where his thoughts ended and Luna's began. When she was hungry, his stomach growled. When he was worried about school, she felt anxious. "Is this permanent?" Jake asked as dawn light began filtering through their frost-covered windows. "I don't know," Luna said honestly. "This has never happened between a human and a Zerathi before." "How do you feel about that?" Luna considered the question, and Jake felt her emotions like music in his mind. Fear, yes, but also wonder, joy, a sense of completion she'd never experienced before. "I feel like I'm home," she said finally. Jake squeezed her hand under the blanket. "Me too." Outside, the storm was finally beginning to calm, but inside their apartment, something entirely new was just beginning. The storm outside reached its worst point just as Jake and Luna's connection was becoming something neither of them had expected. The wind howled like a living thing, and their apartment windows rattled so hard that Jake worried they might shatter. Then the last bit of heat disappeared completely. "The building's main heating system just went down," Luna said, even though Jake hadn't heard any announcement. "I can sense the change in temperature throughout the whole building." Jake's teeth started chattering immediately. The cold hit them like a wall, and he realized they were in real danger now. "We need to stay together," he said. "Really close. Together." Luna hesitated, and through their mental link, Jake felt her internal struggle. She was terrified of what might happen if they got any closer, but she was also scared they might not survive the cold. "If we do this," Luna said quietly, "there's no going back. The bond will become permanent." And if we don't do this, we might freeze, Jake pointed out. I'd rather be permanently connected to you than permanently frozen. Luna looked at him with those glowing eyes, and Jake felt a wave of emotion from her that was so strong it took his breath away. Gratitude, fear, hope, and something deeper that made his heart race. They moved closer together under every blanket they could find, sharing the small space and body heat. The moment their skin touched, Jake felt like he'd been struck by lightning. Suddenly, he wasn't just Jake anymore. He was also Luna, feeling her memories as if they were his own. He experienced her childhood on Xerion, playing in gardens that floated in the sky while purple suns set behind crystal mountains. He felt her excitement when she was chosen for the Earth program and her terror during the journey through space. At the same time, Luna was experiencing Jake's life. His memories of growing up in a small town, his struggles to afford college, his quiet moments of wonder when he solved difficult engineering problems. She felt his loneliness, but also his determination to build something meaningful with his life. "This is incredible," Jake whispered, and he wasn't sure if he said it out loud or if Luna just heard his thoughts. "I can feel everything you've ever felt," Luna said, her voice full of amazement. "Your love for your family, your worries about the future, your dreams about designing buildings that will help people." "I can feel your homesickness," Jake replied, "but also your excitement about Earth. You really do love it here, don't you?" "I love the diversity. On Xerion, we're all very similar, but humans are so different from each other. Every person I've met has been unique." Through their shared consciousness, Jake experienced Luna's fascination with human culture, her delight the first time she tasted chocolate, her confusion about why humans kept animals as pets until she met a dog and understood the joy of unconditional friendship, her amazement at human art and music and literature. "You see us more clearly than we see ourselves," Jake realized. "And you see me as more than just an alien," Luna replied. "You see me as a person." The connection deepened as the hours passed. Jake discovered that Luna had been protecting him in small ways he'd never noticed. She had enhanced the apartment's security system with Zerathi technology. She had been subtly influencing his mood during stressful times, helping him stay calm during exams. She had even been filtering out harmful energy from electronic devices to help him sleep better. "You've been taking care of me this whole time," Jake said, overwhelmed by the realization. "I couldn't help it. Caring for you became as natural as breathing." Luna, in turn, felt Jake's deep appreciation for everything she had done. She experienced his genuine acceptance of her alien nature, his curiosity rather than fear about her differences, his growing affection that had nothing to do with her biology and everything to do with who she was as a person. "I was so scared you would reject me," Luna admitted. "I was scared you would leave," Jake confessed. They realized they had been protecting each other from fears that were completely unnecessary. As their mental connection stabilized, something amazing happened. They began to complement each other in ways that seemed impossible. When Jake struggled with a complex engineering concept, Luna's mathematical abilities seamlessly joined with his creative problem-solving. When Luna felt overwhelmed by human emotions, Jake's steady calmness helped her find balance. "We're like two halves of the same person," Luna marveled. "But better," Jake added. "Because we're still ourselves, just enhanced." The storm outside began to calm as dawn approached, but neither of them noticed. They were too absorbed in exploring their new shared consciousness. They discovered they could communicate without words, share memories like watching movies together, and feel each other's emotions as clearly as their own. "What happens now?" Jake asked as the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds. "Now we figure out how to live like this," Luna said. "Together." "Are you scared?" Luna considered the question, and Jake felt her emotions clearly. There, was some fear. Yes, but it was overwhelmed by relief, joy, and a sense of rightness that neither of them had ever experienced before. "No," Luna said finally. "For the first time since I arrived on Earth, I'm not scared at all." Jake smiled and squeezed her hand. Through their bond, he felt Luna's happiness multiply his own until they were both glowing with contentment. "Good," he said, "because I think we're going to be okay." Outside, the storm clouds were breaking apart, revealing blue sky. Inside, their apartment, two beings from different worlds, had found something that transcended every difference between them. They had found home in each other. 3 days after the storm ended, Jake woke up to the sound of someone knocking on their apartment door. For a moment, he panicked, thinking it might be campus security checking on students. But through his bond with Luna, he felt her calm recognition. "It's my supervisor," Luna said, sitting up on the couch where they'd been sleeping together under their pile of blankets. "From the Scifi program." Jake's stomach clenched with worry. "Are you in trouble?" "I don't know. Let me handle this." Luna opened the door to reveal a tall woman with dark hair and the same subtle glow in her skin that Luna had. The woman's eyes went straight to Jake, and her expression shifted from professional concern to surprise. "Luna," the woman said carefully, "we need to talk." "This is Aria," Luna explained to Jake. "She's my program coordinator." "Aria, this is Jake, my roommate." Aria's eyes widened slightly. Through their mental link, Jake felt Luna's nervousness spike. "Your bonded roommate," Aria corrected, and Jake realized she could sense their connection somehow. "Yes," Luna said quietly. Aria stepped into the apartment and looked around, taking in the blankets, the evidence of their storm survival, and the way Jake and Luna unconsciously stood close together. "This is unprecedented," Aria said finally. "In 50 years of the exchange program, we've never had a Scifi form a permanent bond with a human." "Is that a problem?" Jake asked, finding his voice. Aria studied him with those alien eyes. "That depends. Jake, do you understand what has happened to you? I understand that Luna and I are connected now, and I understand that I'm okay with that. You're sharing consciousness with a being from another planet. Your brain patterns have been permanently altered. Your life will never be the same." Jake felt a flare of protectiveness through his bond with Luna. "My life is better now," he said firmly. "Luna makes me better." Aria's expression softened slightly. "And how do you feel?" "Luna, complete," Luna answered without hesitation. "For the first time since I arrived on Earth, I feel like I belong somewhere." Aria was quiet for a long moment, and Jake could see her processing this information. Finally, she nodded. "The council will need to interview both of you," she said. "This situation has implications for both our species." "What kind of implications?" Jake asked. "Good ones, we hope," Aria replied. "If a human and a Scifi can successfully bond, it opens possibilities we never considered before." Over the next few weeks, Jake's life changed in ways both big and small. The Scifi Council, working through representatives like Aria, conducted extensive interviews with both him and Luna. They were fascinated by the bond and eager to understand how it worked. Jake learned that their connection was being studied as a potential breakthrough in interspecies relations. Scientists from both worlds wanted to understand how a human brain could adapt to Scifi consciousness-sharing technology. "You're famous," Luna told him one evening as they walked across campus together. "There are research papers being written about us on 3 different planets." "Weird," Jake said, but he was smiling. "Good thing I like being your lab partner." The practical changes in their daily life were actually easier to adapt to than Jake had expected. Their shared consciousness meant they could communicate silently across campus, which was incredibly helpful during boring lectures. Luna's enhanced memory helped Jake with his studies, while his creative problem-solving abilities helped Luna understand human behavior patterns she'd been struggling with. They also discovered that their bond came with unexpected benefits. Luna's alien physiology somehow boosted Jake's immune system, and Jake's human adaptability helped Luna handle Earth's environmental stresses better. "We're like a biological team," Luna explained one day while helping Jake with a particularly difficult engineering project. "Your species is incredibly good at adaptation and creative thinking. Mine is good at pattern recognition and energy manipulation. Together, we can do things neither of us could do alone." The engineering project was actually a perfect example. Jake was designing a water purification system for his senior thesis, but he kept running into efficiency problems. With Luna's help, he incorporated energy principles from Zarathi technology and created something that was both revolutionary and practical. "Your professor is going to flip when she sees this," Luna said, reviewing his calculations. "Our professor," Jake corrected. "You did half the work." "I can't exactly put my name on a human university paper." "Maybe not yet," Jake said. "But things are changing." He was right. The Zarathi Council had been so impressed with their successful bond that they were considering expanding the exchange program. Instead of hiding among humans, carefully selected Zarathi might be able to integrate more openly into human society. "They want us to be test subjects for a new kind of cultural exchange," Luna explained after another meeting with Arya. "If we can prove that our bond is stable and beneficial, they might start allowing other Zarathi to form similar connections with willing humans. How do you feel about that?" Luna's emotions flowed through their connection, and Jake felt her excitement, mixed with responsibility. "I feel like we might be helping to change both our worlds for the better." Jake's family had been harder to explain things to. He'd started with, "I have a girlfriend now," and worked his way up to, "She's from another planet, and we're psychically bonded." His parents were still processing, but his little sister thought it was the coolest thing ever. "So you can read each other's minds?" she'd asked during a video call. "It's more like we share emotions and memories," Jake had explained. "And Luna can help me understand things I'm studying." "That's basically like having superpowers," his sister had declared. "I'm so jealous." The hardest part was keeping the secret from his other friends and classmates. Jake had to be careful not to accidentally demonstrate abilities that normal humans shouldn't have, like knowing things Luna had learned when he wasn't around, or solving problems with knowledge he shouldn't possess. But the benefits far outweighed the challenges. Jake had never felt so understood, so supported, or so capable of handling whatever life threw at him. And through their bond, he knew Luna felt the same way. "Do you ever regret it?" Jake asked one evening as they watched the sunset from their apartment balcony. "Bonding with a boring human instead of someone from your own species?" Luna looked at him with amusement in her glowing eyes. "Jake, you helped me understand what it means to be truly accepted. You see me as Luna first and an alien second. Do you know how rare that is?" "Do you ever regret it?" she asked in return. "Your life would have been much simpler without me." Jake considered the question seriously. His life was definitely more complicated now, but it was also richer, more interesting, and filled with possibilities he'd never imagined. "Simple is overrated," he said finally. "I'd rather have complicated and amazing than simple and lonely." Luna smiled and took his hand. Through their bond, Jake felt her complete agreement. As the sun set behind the campus buildings, Jake realized that he was no longer just a struggling college student trying to figure out his future. He was part of something bigger, something that might help bridge the gap between two worlds. And best of all, he wasn't facing that future alone.